Let's go. Name in the bush. I got a ram in the bush. I'm the that God gonna provide for me. That's why I stand on the book.
Hey there, friends, and welcome to Becoming a Boss, where we usually take some time each week to talk with someone who's wrestling with a specific situation at work. But today, we're breaking bad to talk about the thing that can make or break a marriage. The thing that could end lifelong friendships. Is this dramatic enough for you?
Yes.
Okay. That I believe is one of the few required elements of any high-functioning team. You want to tell them what that is, husband?
Yeah, the way to make everything better.
Yeah.
The speed of trust.
The speed of trust. And who better to discuss this very hot topic with than the person I trust the most in this whole entire world, my husband.
I thought you were going to say hot topic with hot husband. That would have been fun.
It's PG.
It's okay.
So we're not allowed to say stuff like that.
Okay.
All right. Hello, Justin. So, hey, this is your first time on the show. Are you nervous?
No.
You're also the first male on the show. Mm-hmm. So lots riding on your shoulders.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Okay, so I have a question. I know we're going to talk about the speed of trust, but I mean, it's easy to say be trustworthy, but how do we do that practically?
I mean, my mind is immediately going to the 13 behaviors of trust. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, is that what we want to talk about? Do we just want to dive into the 13? Because that's everything over the last 10 years of my life has been aligning with those 13 behaviors that build, break, or ruin trust.
Yeah, so the book that we're talking about is called The Speed of Trust. It's by Stephen M.R. Covey, not to be confused with
His father. Also Stephen Covey.
Also Stephen Covey. So it's super clear. Mm-hmm. Who wrote The 7 Habits, as you guys probably have read before. So his son, also named Stephen Covey, wrote this book called The Speed of Trust. And it is one of the most underrated books, I think, on the planet. I mean, the book is great. In the book, it lists the 13 behaviors. They're clear, they're succinct, and they're practical handles for me. You could just read it and say, oh, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. And since a lot of people don't know about it, or I'm assuming, I don't know, it's not the first book that people say.
Right.
It's just not. I don't know why, but these 13 behaviors are awesome. So let's talk about them. All right. The first.
Wait, before we talk about them.
Okay.
I feel like everybody in their mind has their own perception of what they feel like trust means to them. Mm-hmm. And so if you're listening, whether it's on, I don't know, whatever platform, if you have the ability to respond, I want to hear, what is the thing to you that breaks your trust the quickest? Think of somebody in your mind that broke your trust in the past and let us know who that was. And then also the opposite. What was the quickest way that people have built trust with you and why? Mm-hmm. Because the answers to the questions hopefully will align with one of these 13 behaviors that we already know about. It just puts them in easy language to understand. So we can go through them. But first, can we build up suspense by just asking people what they think is the number one way to break trust the quickest?
I've got an answer.
According to Covey. But yes, what is your answer?
According to me,
Yes.
break commitments.
Yes.
Oh, it's such a pet peeve.
Covey says so too. And Covey had surveyed a lot of people to figure it out. Number one way to break trust the quickest is to break commitments.
Oh, right. So I was right on task.
You're right.
So smart. Your wife is smart.
Yeah, that's why I married you. And more. The number one way to build trust the quickest is?
Deliver results.
That is right.
Yes. I love getting answers right.
I know. This isn't a test, though. I wonder if our
Everything is a
people got it
test
right.
to me.
Okay.
I'm competitive.
Yes.
I want to win.
I know.
Do you have any more questions?
No, I think those are the biggest ones that people resonate with the most. It's easy to come to mind what breaks my trust and what builds my trust. Every person I've ever asked has an answer in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I feel not everybody will completely resonate with those things. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, I guess. But of the 13, I think we'll hit everybody who had something come to mind. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Can you think of a person who you trusted a lot and why you trusted them in your own personal life?
They're going to ask, and then when they broke your trust.
No. Okay. Let's keep it positive.
Yes. Yeah, you.
Okay, well, that's kind of a...
I mean, we built trust quickly with each other, very quickly. at some point we can tell our story, but I know that we got married in less than a year. Had one date.
You can't say stuff like
but
that.
But it's high trust. It's like we had one date. We knew that we were supposed to be together. And basically from the time of meeting to 3 months later, we were engaged. It might have been actually quicker than that.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, but high trust.
Yeah,
like
but
we had to.
Yeah, you're right.
We had to trust each other and trust that what we were doing was the right thing and we were taking counsel. Anyway, speed of trust.
Okay. Number 1, straight talk.
Straight talk. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Exactly. So that one's pretty clear, I think. Yeah?
Yeah. All right. So there are 13 behaviors.
There are.
Each one, if you do it, you're building trust, like depositing into a bank account, a trust account.
Right.
If you don't do it, you're breaking trust or withdrawing from the account or withdrawing from somebody's trust account. But there's something more dangerous than depositing or withdrawing. It's depositing a counterfeit. So if we try to do one of the trust behaviors in a way that is misleading or acts as a counterfeit, for example, straight talk, if you just deliver the truth. The way to not do it is just not say anything at all. The counterfeit.
Oh, I got this one.
What do you think the counterfeit is?
If you passive aggressive me.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Passive aggressive, but also it's like the white lie. I tell the truth, but I intentionally leave the wrong impression.
Ooh, dirty.
Yes, which is why it breaks trust even more. So it's far more damaging to do it in that way than to not do it at all.
It's like a double negative.
It is. It's like I'm doing the right thing, but I actually have the wrong intention, so it makes it worse. So each one of these has a counterfeit that is significantly more damaging.
Okay. So number 1 is straight talk.
Yes.
Say what you mean what you say.
Yes.
Number 2 is demonstrate respect. Say what you mean, but...
Say it respectfully.
Yeah. So number 2 is attached to number 1, kind of.
Yeah, hopefully you're saying things nicely or in a way that is honoring and respectful.
Yeah, so instead of just saying something like your performance sucks, you say something more along the lines of, hey, I noticed your performance isn't as high as it normally is. Can we talk through it?
Yeah. Or not telling somebody your performance sucks in front of a team of 50 people.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. To respectfully do it, coach in private.
Praise in public.
Praise in public.
Yeah. Cool story, though. Not really.
Okay.
I know this company I used to work for, instead of holding people accountable, they would actually embarrass people as a form of accountability. So that was a fun culture to be in. Not really.
People can't tell your smile.
Sorry, it was not a fun
culture.
Not a fun culture.
I get that.
Because embarrassing people is not respectful.
Yeah. And I get there are times to be able to have hard conversations in public, but it really is more of a exception scenario than it is. Across the norm. It's always great to be able to publicly shame people. It's not the case. You should never do that.
Yeah, so time out. I'm reading right now Radical Candor, which is a separate book. I don't want to get everybody confused.
Great book.
But in that book, Radical Candor, she's talking about the value in having conflict in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Which is such a wonderful concept because...
It feels contrary to what we were just saying.
I know it does, but that's what made me think of it. Because I think how I was, quote unquote, raised in my leadership theory, it was that you shouldn't have conflict amongst your team, but every relationship should have healthy conflict.
Yeah.
Because we were made differently, and we were made differently on purpose. And in order to, in a healthy way, celebrate our differences, sometimes we have to have a conflict.
That means sometimes we have to fight.
We do. I know we don't like to talk about it.
I know. But we always got through it, and it's always made us better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about conflict. You may have an opinion, somebody else has a different opinion, but if you can healthily navigate your way through it, then you come out on the other end stronger.
Yeah, we're aligned on the same mission. We both want to achieve the same thing.
Same goal.
Same goals, same vision, running in the same direction. And so any obstacles we have to figure out how to navigate them together because we need to get to the end together.
Right. Okay. So number 3.
Yeah. This is the hard part of arguments. Number 3. Because you talked about the thing that breaks relationships, the things that break, like in the beginning of this podcast, you were like, this is the thing that will damage everything.
Yeah, my very dramatic intro.
Yes. And it's people not doing this one.
Create transparency.
Yeah. People don't want to open up about their feelings and their past or who they are, their character. And so if they won't open up about who they are, it's hard to connect with people that they lead.
I mean, that's a deeper level if you want to connect with your people. That's pretty high level of leadership. But even a basic level. I just was listening to a podcast this morning, and the guy's talking about how he fired this dude because I should add a caveat that he knew it was wrong after the fact. So he learned his lesson. But he fired this dude for not monitoring calls. He was a manager in a call center, and he wasn't monitoring calls, so he fired him. But the other guy was like, well, did you tell him he had to monitor calls? And he's like, no, he's been a sales manager in the past, so he should have known.
Yeah.
He should have known is, oh my word. It's one of my all-time least favorite
Phrases.
things to hear.
Yeah.
He should have known.
Yeah, I feel this also ties into number 10.
Oh, you're skipping ahead?
Number 9.
We can't go to 9. We're on 3.
We don't need to go to 9 yet. But I do feel like a lot of these overlap because people will be like, isn't that, we already talked about this? Like keeping commitments, isn't that the same as like delivering results?
No.
Right. So in this case, I'm thinking of creating transparency. It's helpful to know what the goals are, but also to clarify the goals. So I feel like there's an overlap. We'll get to clarify expectations later, but
Yeah.
the counterfeit real quick though of creating transparency. I used to work at a bank. And so when people would call in, I couldn't give information. There's like a proper amount of transparency I could give when somebody calls in.
Okay.
I had to verify they were who they said they were.
Right.
They had to verify some information with me. And still at that point, I could not tell them your social security number is blah, 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 even though I saw all of that. That's just something that you don't do over the phone. And I can't go up to random strangers and just tell them, my life story if they're not ready to hear it. There's some things you have to gauge where we are in the relationship and how much I'm supposed to say, like the appropriate amount of transparency based on where we are in our working relationship, in our friendship, in our marriage. I do feel like in a marriage, it's like, well, we're in this together. We need to get down to the root of it. But even just in a working relationship.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's on a deeper level. But let me take number 3, create transparency, to an even just a lower level. So if you're a new manager, it's to tell the truth in a way that people can verify.
Yeah.
And one of the easy ways to do this is if you say something in a one-on-one meeting with one person, and then you say that again in a different one-on-one meeting with another person, and then you say the same thing again in the team meeting with everyone present. It's a unified message. And when you're repeating the same things over and over and also communicating the same values, the same goals, it creates transparency among the entire team so that they're clear on what we're all about. What is our culture about? What is our company about? It just makes it clear. All right.
Yeah.
Number 4. Right your wrongs.
So when I make a mistake, it's not just saying I'm sorry. This one says, well, yes.
It is. Yeah. It's
Say
saying
you're sorry, but it's make restitution where possible.
Yes.
So if there's a way to fix what I did wrong, I should take initiative to go up and try to fix what I did wrong to make it better or to make up for the mistake.
Yeah. And I think that's a better way to really create that transparency. If you say you're sorry, then you make restitution on top of that. It's easier for people to believe that you meant what you said when you said, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this one's interesting because it's not, I feel like this one has the most grace out of all of them. Because if you make a mistake, I feel like you can gain people's trust back really quickly if you're actually going to apologize and do what you can to fix the situation.
Right.
It's like, hey, I am sorry. I feel bad. I recognize my wrongs. And here is a situation that has now been resolved. And it's like, oh, thank you.
Yep. All right. Number 5, show loyalty. Oh, I love this one. Give credit to others to their face and also behind their back. Kind of how we were told in school. Don't talk about people behind their back. Do talk about them behind their back. Speak well of them behind their back.
Right.
Speak well of them to their face. Speak well of them behind their back. Be the same person in front of them and behind them.
Gosh.
So the opposite of showing loyalty.
It's not doing it.
Yeah, and I think a common thing that we see in offices is gossip. I think people gossip.
Yeah. Do you feel like this goes into counterfeit territory?
Yeah, I do. Or we like to say, oh, bless her heart.
Yeah.
But what does that really mean?
Right.
Okay.
You're saying something nice. It sounds like you're saying something nice. You're actually not doing candor at all. Crossing over books again.
Crossing over. All right, so show loyalty. Give credit to others to their face and also behind their back.
Yes.
Number 6, deliver results.
Quickest way to build trust.
So I love this one because for me, I think it's easy. Just do the dang thing.
Yeah. This is the first one of the competencies. So the last 5 we talked about are always to build trust and character. Mm-hmm. And so
that's the starting point.
Yeah. If you want to build other people's trust in your character, doing those first 5 ones. And now these next 5 ones, if you want to build people's trust in your ability to do the job or to do the work or to do it better than they think they can, is to really get great at these. So to deliver results is number 6.
Right. So the competence-based behaviors are 6 through 10. So number 6 is deliver results, which is just, plain and simple. Just get it done. But the opposite, or maybe counterfeit, is the word that I should be using, is to make excuses.
Maybe it crosses over to straight talk. But could part of the counterfeit be delivering shoddy results? I'm thinking about if you work for accounting or data or whatever, and you deliver what they ask for, but it's incorrect information. Like maybe you actually didn't check the work, double check the work, and it's like, yeah, we actually spent $100,000 this year as a business or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we spent $300,000 and you told us $100,000. Like crossed over to straight talk. It's like all these different things, but it's like,
yeah. Don't get me started on data integrity.
Yeah, you got to deliver the right.
Hey, let's talk about data. Are you a data person or a data person?
I'm definitely data.
Definitely data.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. I know a lot of people. This is going to split the audience. I know a lot of people that do data. I know we're supposed to be about unity.
We are.
I know, but
Don't mess it up.
Okay.
All right, here, I'll change my answer and I'll say data. That way, if they like me or if they like you, they're going to like somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, so data then. I'm flexible.
Okay.
Number 7, get better.
Yeah. Get better.
Oh, Justin, you're so good at this one.
That's kind.
I don't think it's kind. I think it's straight talk. Because you're so good at making sure that you have regularly scheduled time to learn ABCD.
Yeah, that's how I feel up.
Do you want to tell people your schedule in the morning?
Sure. 5 a.m. I try to get up, but then I listen to the Bible. I do Duolingo. I'm on day 667, doing it in a row. If we're talking about strengths finders, consistency is my worst strength.
We're not talking about strength finders.
I know, but the fact that I got up to 667, I'm fighting through this being bad at consistency thing. And then after that, I get up and I drink right now warm candy water, according to somebody on YouTube. Water with 0 sugar, Skittles drink mix. It's very good. I'm not doing coffee anymore. And then I study stories in the Bible and how stories are told and are effective. If they lasted all these years, there's got to be something that's written well in there. So just trying to understand it. But that's it. That's currently my thing. But that is not like that for a while. I try to find something that works well, and what doesn't work, I just cut it out. For example, like cutting out coffee recently. My body was exhausted, and I would just drink more coffee to not be exhausted. But then I would crash. Yes. And then I would crash. I mean, it's what we all have done. But then one day I felt like my body keeps telling me I'm tired, and I keep getting sick. And I wonder if it's because I'm not listening, because I'm drowning it with coffee. What if I instead listened to my body and rested, went to bed an hour earlier and not scrolling on social media? So I did that. Then I feel much better. The next day sucked. But it's like listening to my body and being willing to go through hard things to be able to get better and learn. So yeah, I guess that's my example.
Yeah, it's a good example.
How do you get better?
Well, I'm diving into Strengths Finders right now because I'm a learner. I love to learn. So I feel like it's cheating
Yeah.
because I'm going to love to learn anyway,
Yeah.
whether or not you told me in my 13 behaviors.
Right. People love things.
It's just interesting. I'm interested in things. I'm intrigued.
See, I used to hate learning. I hated learning.
Gasp.
I love you.
When?
All of high school and even college.
Time out. That's because they were telling you what to learn.
Yes.
But you wanted to be the boss of what you learn.
Yeah, I realized as soon as I got into my first psychology class and that I could learn about learning and learn about people, I found what I was actually interested in.
Yeah.
And so then I loved it. But I hated studying history. I hated studying science. I know some people loved it. I loved math, but I wasn't excited to learn it until I found something that just clicked with how I see life. And I was like, oh, this will actually be helpful for what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you take psychology in high school or college?
High school.
Yeah.
It was a dual enrollment where they get to take college classes while you're in high school to try to get ahead.
Really?
But I was not ahead. There was a local community college and it was an option. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's good.
That's getting better.
Getting better. All right. So number 8, confront reality.
You're good at this.
Oh, I am. Because I don't care about people's feelings.
You do.
I'm kidding. Confront reality is just to confront tough issues head on. So a really good example of this is just if you get a paper cut and you don't take care of it, it's just a paper cut. So it's very, very tiny.
Right.
But if you don't take care of it, you don't clean it, you don't wash it, you don't bandage it, you don't do anything, and you just go about your business, it's going to get infected. It's going to fester. I mean, you're going to go to the hospital. You're going to have, what's it called? I don't know, but they'll cut off your whole finger.
Yeah.
You have to take care of things. That's the lesson.
Yeah. Confronting reality.
Yeah.
That was the one I was at the worst at years ago. I feel like now being where I am and needing to have necessary conversations, I've had more opportunities to confront reality because I realized if I don't, similar to your example just now, if I don't address it now, it's going to get worse later.
Yeah.
And
right.
This last season, I've had an extremely full plate of things at the office. And so I realized that if I didn't feel like I had time to take care of something right now, like address an issue, especially when I don't want to do it, I saw where it blew up later.
Oh, yeah.
And it would take even more time.
Yep.
So I got in the habit of like, if I saw something, I said something. But I used that book you were talking about, Radical Candor, to figure out how to say things with compassion and point to vision rather than trying to cast shame.
Right. Exactly.
So saying things nicely in a way that is helpful. Demonstrate respect.
Yeah. Confront reality. Number 8. Okay. Number 9 is clarify expectations. So this is the one. Okay. So this is the one. I feel like all the episodes have been about clarify expectations. Heaven forbid. So create a shared vision and agreement up front.
Yeah. Goals.
Set the goals.
Yeah.
Don't expect people to know. They don't know.
Yeah. And the boundaries.
Oh, listen, we don't have enough time on this podcast to even begin to explore boundaries.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Right.
So yeah, I guess so. Clarify expectations. Those could be boundaries, but they could be goals. So I had this boss one time who, this is actually kind of funny. This business was hard. I worked all the way from, 8 a.m. till midnight every single day. And the client would call at 11 o'clock at night. My boss would call 11 o'clock. It didn't matter. It was just a free-for-all. Anyway, so yeah, talk about boundaries. But this particular example of clarifying expectations is my boss would send me an email. And if I didn't respond within, I would say 20 or 30 minutes, he would come out to my desk and sit there and tap his foot and ask me why I didn't answer his email.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I mean, at the time, I don't know how to 150 or whatever people,
Yeah.
200 people.
Yeah.
So I'm doing things. I have a schedule. I'm doing a lot out
Yeah.
here. I can't answer your email within, but I didn't say all that. I just learned. Did he tell me, I need you to answer my email immediately? No, he didn't tell me that. But based off of his behavior, I deduced that he needed me to answer his email immediately. And so I put a little chime on his email. And so I would hear it
Yeah.
come in specifically, and I would answer it right away because that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And for me, it was helpful because he wasn't at my desk.
Yes. I feel like this is tying over to the working genius. We can talk about that later.
Oh my word, I love the working genius. We are going to have 2 episodes about that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't tantalize me.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we on? Number 10.
Number 10.
So number 9 was clarify expectations, which
Yeah.
we've talked about. Episode 1, episode 2, I don't know how many
Even
episodes.
number 3 earlier, we talked about creating transparency, but it's creating transparency of the goals. Like, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to accomplish?
Right.
What are we trying to achieve? All right. Sorry. Number 10.
I'm sorry. Just one more thing about expectations, because I just don't understand why people aren't doing it. If you don't know what the expectation, let's just say you're a new boss, you don't know what the expectations should be. That's okay. The people, however, if you don't name them, the people are going to feel really nervous because they don't know how to hit the goal, or they don't know what to do. They don't know when they're doing a good job. So they get nervous.
Yeah.
And then they start to feel like they're not doing a good job, even though they might be. It gets very, very confusing.
Yeah.
So if you are a new manager and you don't know what the expectations should be, just ask. Ask the people. They're the ones doing the job. So just sit down, have a talk with them, and just say, hey guys, I want your input on what the expectations could be. Could we all write them together?
It's a good example.
Yeah, and if that builds teamwork, trust, collaboration, and also you're getting the minds when you have if it's not just you, because one person is never going to have all the answers, but if you have a whole team of people and they're all able to join in and provide input,
Yeah.
you're going to get a good result. And then you could just write them somewhere where everyone can see, it's very clear, and people don't feel like they're getting treated differently.
Yeah.
Or they don't feel nervous about not doing a good job.
People are clear. It's unified.
Unified. Right. Okay. So number 10, practice accountability. Ooh, I love this one too.
I wonder if Covey intentionally put these in this order, because I feel like they play off each other so well.
Ugh, they do.
Because you're supposed to set goals and now hold accountability for those goals.
And the book says, hold yourself accountable first and
good.
then others accountable second.
That's great.
I heard this quote one time. There is not one thing that you can fix if you don't take responsibility for it. You have to hold yourself accountable first before you can even think about fixing it. So what would the counterfeit of that be for practice accountability? Avoiding responsibility, shirking your responsibilities, passing it off to others.
Yeah, I mean, not doing it at all is just kind of like, that's the passive aggressive. I'm not holding you accountable, but I'm upset and I'm angry. Yeah, probably blaming other people. It's like, let me think.
Well, I'm going to do a training on this one. So this is going to be a whole course about accountability because I love it so much. But one of the things that is going to be in that course is that you hold yourself accountable first as the leader. And one of the ways to make sure that you're not holding people accountable unfairly is to make sure that they know the expectations and that you follow up with them several times.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say.
Okay. That works.
Because you're clear on what it is, and then you're following up multiple times so that it's not like, you know, sometimes you just spit it and then run.
Yeah.
But you follow it up. If you follow up multiple times and they're still not doing it, it just doesn't happen. People want to do a good job. People want to do a good job. And so 9 times out of 10, they are not going to get to that point where you have to hold them accountable. They're just going to do it.
Yeah. I know you talk about this in your one-on-one guide of how to have these healthy conversations ongoing. We should probably link that to people. But I also think about how I mentioned the working genius already, but I'm feeling it now as you're talking about it. I really don't like to do this one. I feel like I can do it well, but it drains me to no end because I feel personal responsibility to do the things. I don't want to have to hold other people accountable because I would hope that they would just do it. But I know that it's an important thing. It just drains me. So when I talk about working genius, this I feel like is a tenacity piece where it's helping to make sure that other people are completing the goals, that we've did what we said we're going to do, like we brought it to completion. If people aren't doing their piece, it's following up and making sure that they're doing it. I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like doing it. I'd rather just invent and dream all day. And I know that.
Okay. Well, let me give you just a positive part of that.
Yeah.
Typically, your job has been a little unorthodox lately. Your jobs, I should say. But typically, when you have a team, you keep the team for a long time and they learn what the expectations are. So you don't have to continue to follow up. Now, in my career, I've taken over a lot of teams. So when you take over a team, you have to set the expectations clearly and you do have to follow up a lot of times until they know you and what the expectations are.
Yeah.
But they don't try to push it after that. They just understand this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And they just do it. They just get the job done. Because like I said, people want to win. They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
They really do.
I'm not against you. I agree. I see the value.
I'm glad you're not against me. We're married.
We are.
All right. But again, it's okay to have healthy conflict.
Yes. That is the end of the first 10. So first 5 character, second 5 competency, doing the job. The next 3 are a combination of both. The last 3.
So that's 11, 12, and 13. So 11 is listen first. Genuinely listen to understand and listen with your eyes, your ears, and your heart. All of it. 360 listen.
Nice. Yes. I don't have much to say about this one, but I feel it is easy to zone out. I was just in a training course where somebody was saying almost, I forget the exact numbers, but we can listen to almost twice as fast as people can talk.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So there's a lot of gap for us to be able to be thinking about something else, remember things, forget things, all of the different pieces, all in the midst of somebody's sentence. And it's also easy to be able to look at all the things that are happening around the person while the person is talking to us, especially in public. I know this is one of the frustrating things to you. It's like you and I could be talking. Well, let's not say you and I. I pay attention to you.
Of course you do.
I
You
do.
always do.
I love you.
Everybody heard that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But somebody could be talking to you, and while you're talking to them, their eyes could be looking at everybody behind you, walking and trying to like find the nearest exit. They love what you're saying, but they also have to use the restroom or whatever reason. Whatever reason somebody's not listening to you.
It's weird.
Or me. But it's true. Like it's easy to do. We all don't want to be in a conversation, but listening first, we can navigate around it. Active listening, repeating back what the person has said to us to show that we understand.
Yeah. Micro affirmations.
Yes. Help
So
them feel.
nodding, smiling. These are ways that you can communicate silently that you're listening to the person. And I find that you are able to respond more quickly and accurately if you are listening fully.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So Ryan Clark, he's on the NFL show. He just said something this week that I just loved. And I think this is the second week in a row that I'm quoting Ryan Clark. So
Yeah.
he's not paying me or anything, but okay, so here's what he said. He's talking about a coach and the players. And this is related to listen first. He said, when you think that your system is bigger than your players, you've already lost. So I love that because if you're not listening to your people, your player, if you're not listening,
Yeah.
then you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You have to listen.
Yeah.
You just have to. There's no way to I don't think there's any way to win if you're ignoring the people. Your literal job is to lead them. And you don't know how to lead them well if you don't know what they need. You don't know what they want.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Check
Ask
up on them. Remember the things that they said that they care about. There are ways to do it well.
There are.
Not a lot of ways to do it not well.
So anyway, listen first. Very,
Yes.
very good. Okay. So number 12.
Quickest way to break trust with people.
Keep commit. Okay, well, wait. Now you just confused them
Sorry.
because I said keep commitments.
The behavior itself is called keep commitments.
Okay. So do what you say. Do what you say you're going to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then this is the number one way to break trust with people the quickest. It's just not keeping commitments.
If you break your commitments.
Yeah.
All right. So I didn't ask your permission to tell the story, but I guess I'll ask it now. Early in our marriage, I remember you used to ask me to do things and I would not commit to them. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And I seem to recall that it would be Tuesday night is this, Wednesday night is this, Thursday night. And I don't know if I'm going to come. I don't know if I'm going to be there. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. And after repeatedly not committing to these events, I feel like you started maybe to get a little mad at me. True or false?
False.
False.
It created tension for us.
Wait, you just made me think of what's his name?
Black Bear.
From The Office?
Yes.
False.
False Black Bear. Yes, it definitely created tension because at this point we were not creating transparency. We were both getting frustrated, and we both didn't understand why the other person wasn't understanding our frustration.
Yeah.
Yes.
Healthy conflict. Let's talk about it.
Healthy conflict. So there was a night that we had a lot of straight talk. Well, I did a lot of straight talk. I talked, and you were active listening. You were listening first. And we basically talked through all the scenario. I asked all the questions to try to figure out what the root cause was. Mm-hmm. And we figured out that you don't like me scheduling things on your calendar that you don't want to do.
Right. Because I get peopled out.
Yes.
I get peopled out.
Yes.
I love people, but I get peopled out.
Yes. And we didn't clarify expectations up front of how often we would hang out, do the things with all the people. I was already in the rhythm of hanging out with other people every night before we got together because leading a church and doing all that stuff. But then the other piece was the frustration that I was feeling is I was talking, but I felt like you weren't talking back or giving me feedback on what was helpful and what not helpful. It was more of just kind of withdrawing in silence.
Yeah.
And
I'm great at that.
Oh, yeah. Not anymore. You're doing really good at opening up and sharing. But it was like creating transparency into the situation of what's going on, what you're thinking about so that I could help make it better. So we figured out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And we signed a deal that night of I wouldn't schedule things on your calendar that you didn't want to do without first talking to you about it.
Yep.
And that if you felt like withdrawing and not talking, you would pick a time and a day that we would talk and we would do that. So I had something to look forward to.
Yeah. So is there a contract? Like we have a contract. Does it exist still?
It's not.
Because
we said it was a contract. It was just we basically wrote our stuff down and signed it.
I mean, we signed it though.
We
so
committed
I feel like
to it.
We kept commitments.
We kept our commitments.
Number 12. Let
Yes.
us demonstrate how it's done.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes. Keep commitments.
So yeah, but that has always been a big deal for me is to do don't say you're going to do stuff and then don't do them.
Yeah. This is the quickest way to break trust with me. Yeah.
Break your commitments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of past stuff.
Trauma.
Yes.
This is not a relationship podcast.
No, this is not. But people will be like, yeah, they cheated on me. They did. You know, they told me they were going to come and they didn't come. And like they said they'd always be with me and that never happened. And also families and, you know, teams. It's easy to remember the things that we lost. And so I feel like this is the thing, probably why it's the number one way to break trust with people. It's like they left me or I lost that thing.
Yeah.
It's just a pain point for people.
Trauma.
Yes. But there's always hope in number 13.
Extend trust.
Yeah. Smart trust.
Yeah. So extend trust based on reason, record, and circumstance.
Yeah.
All right. So the best example of this is, I think, the 5-year-old.
Sure.
The 5-year-old is so cute, but you don't let her drive the car.
Yeah.
You don't extend trust to her and allow her to drive the car, do you?
Right.
No, because based on reason, record, and circumstance, she cannot drive the car.
Right.
Also, it's illegal. So what's a good example of extending trust? Because that would be a bad example.
Yeah, I
is
think-
to let the 5-year-old drive the car.
I think a good example is a church. So I love this scenario. If anybody's ever stepped into a church they would likely see that there is some mention of offering, because churches are normally run by gifts and offerings.
Oh, like the bowl. They pass the bowl around?
Yeah, they pass the bowl around.
Okay.
And so if they were to, let's say they have music that's playing when, there's an opportunity for people to be able to give and trust God with their finances.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to require every single person to come to the front of the room while one person was holding the bowl up front and drop the money in to go back to their seat to make sure that no one is taking money from the offering bowl,
Right.
it would take forever. It would take more than one song.
Yeah.
So what a lot of churches will do is they will pass the offering bowl around,
Right.
and people will just take the bowl, drop their money in, and pass it along.
around. Yeah.
And so it's a very quick way to be able to get the same thing done, but it's extending trust to the people that they won't take money out. And there's a lot of speed that comes with it. And it's equipping, trusting, and empowering the people. And there's a lot, it's a quick way to build trust with people. They also have hot dog stands and donut stands where people will leave like a little cup, and people can put their own thing together, grab their own donut, grab their own hot dog, and then just put the money in there.
Yeah.
And then take their own change. And they found that they are able to increase productivity, increase sales, because they're trusting people, but also you don't need a person there that's actually manning the situation.
Hey, yeah. What book was that in?
I don't remember. It might have been The Speed of Trust.
Good plug.
Thanks.
All right.
That's 13.
That's 13.
All 13 behaviors.
Yeah. You have any final words, husband?
It works. This is what I've been doing with my friends, with my family. Anytime that I feel like I mess up, I have language that I can use to identify the root cause. Do you feel like I'm not being loyal to you? Do you feel like I broke your trust by breaking this commitment? Or I ask people, why do you feel like you could trust me? Like, we just met last week and we're working together and it's easy. And they will be like, well, because you do this. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I am delivering results. That makes sense. And so it's like I can find out what I do well, what I can do better. And it has also been great language when talking with other people on my team, because people were, like you said, very easy to gossip. And just to feel hurt and talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
And so to be able to put language to it and make it practical so that we can take action and make it better.
Right.
Get better. Number 7.
Number 7. Plug.
Number 7. It's just been super helpful in being able to actually course correct and realign our goals to be on the same page, be unified.
Yeah. So you could train your team. I mean, you could just take these 13 behaviors, train your team, give them all the tools,
Yes.
and then you could even do a 360, what do you call that? Feedback.
Yeah.
And say, hey, team, I want you to look at these 13 behaviors and tell me where you think I am strong and also not so strong.
Yeah.
One of the best ways you can get better as a leader is by asking for feedback from people who are on your team or people that are close to you as well.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that's it. That's it for today. Thank you for listening in. And hey, do you want to be a part of the show? You could call in or text 864-619-1683 to share your story, and we will get into it about what your leader should have done differently. And calling all bosses, would you share this episode with someone you think would like it? Our goal is to inspire and equip others, but we cannot do it without you. And listen, friend, we know it's not easy, but remember that whatever it is you're walking through, you are certainly not alone. And together we can make the world a better place to work. Thanks for listening, team. Take care and see you next week.
Yeah. Aim in the bush. I got a ram in the bush. I'm the that God gon' provide for me. That's why I stand on the book.